I got you. Let it rap real quick. Look. The city eyes, it's time to vote God. My God, a real nigga, cause he wasn't no flaw. Posted on the corner like a watchdog. Family secure, got that shotty in the closet by the mob ball. Fuck what they heard, but tell them it's all true. Be cautious, that foundation falls to fall through. They gon' fall. Look, I keep this shit 50 times 2. Ain't no more heart in this game, I'm John Q. Told it in the ambulance, way above average. Fierce taste, he told him make me an apple tree. Left us in the valley full of bones, this where hope found. Child become a man, dark sands get broke down. Ride through Evans to a mall quad, telling me how the crackers turn his child into a ghost town. Focus up, nigga, I lay that game down. My feelings pain, cause nothing is the same now. Never light shine like heaven through a rain cloud. Glock have a fit like my child, no bench. Try to warn them niggas, we bear arms like tarantulas. Them other niggas rap, I make anthems for it. I really seen prophets under this banner. Make my enemies bow down on camera. Told my design I want it black and white like a panda. I'm better than that nigga that stunk dirty to handle. Look, I move like a Brazilian. Precious cargo, spirit Asian, but I got a new semi-auto. Wave that bitch around like where's Hardo. Sleep if they won't, I cut through they Z's like I'm Zorro. Pay me for his name, so I gotta keep that steel clutch. Trust me, I'm not what you think. I squeeze till it click like Dorothy when the heels touch. The world got me dumb, I don't feel much. Ride around me, y'all down, just left the state bridge. Looking for a bitch better than baby kid. Remember, I dropped twice, gone. I've been gone ever since. Still in the field, fuck them niggas on the fence, yeah.
Chasing that A and want to save time on proofreading?
Salakia. Most High in Christ, clap it up. Hey, Shalom. Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah Baraka Thumbs to all the brothers. Yahweh Shamar Allah Thun Bashim Yahweh Shah to all the sisters. It's the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA. You understand? Teaching the truth since 1969. So-called blacks, Hispanics, so-called blacks, Latinos, like you, and the Indians are the true Jews according to the Bible. That the oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of. Understand? And this, of course, is the Friday night Lashawan Qadash class, the Hebrew class. You know what I mean? So that's what we break down, talking about today. Continuing on the topics we kind of led into from last week. You know what I'm saying? This is really far. It's a lot. You bear with me. I like to so y'all can see it. Just a moment. That's too wild. All right. So yeah, we're going to continue with some of the things we was discussing last week. Going into some new topics or whatever, to get an understanding of just again focusing on how to read. We want to be able to read the Assyrian. We want to be able to read this. So I'm actually going to leave this on the book because we're going to go over this again. we want to be able to go into the Assyrian and just, pronounce the words. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, especially as young readers, we may not know what every word means, but the ability to pronounce it and say it, of course, is the first step. You know what I'm saying? To being able to get to the point where we can have, to get our meanings down packed and everything. It all comes together. And so just learning not just how to formulate the words when we see them together, but even the individual letters are so important, to being able to read it, to say it out loud. Okay, so we're gonna leave that up there. Yanazar, if you could, Baba Kushai, give me the one. You know the one I like to start with in Ecclesiasticus. You already know. Count the water, brother. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. Like the channel. So, you know what I'm saying? If you're not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe. Also, if you could, which one of these two? One second. I guess that's cool for now. Yeah, if you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you share it as well. Yeah, I was going to read scripture in just a second. You know what I'm saying? But before he does that real quick, let's just refresh our memories. We're going to leave that. We're going to leave the alphabet up here. We're going to leave the possessives as well until further notice. But what we want to do is look at this. If you want to just, take a quick screenshot, you know what I mean, or a picture of that. So, you know what I'm saying, you got those vocabulary words down. We got the word for night last week. The word for night is la. This is how you would write it in the Assyrian. In the Assyrian, you would write it like this: la. We also got the word for even or sundown, evening, right? And that word is I.R.A.B. Coming from a root word which means mixed. Represents like the fact that, when sundown happens or when it's sunset, it's like a mixture. It's like day to night. You know what I'm saying? And that is the same word from which you get the word Arab. The word Arab, right, comes from that word because the Arabs are, in fact, a mixed people. You know what I'm saying? Some of those people that call themselves Arabs right now are, in fact, what? Greeks, Edomites, right? Because when, Germans, Greeks down there, you know what I'm saying? When, whatchamacallit went down there, remember, he was in Egypt. They was all up in Egypt and all up in that area, taken over right after Alexander. So many of them are, in fact, white people. Okay. Some of them are what? Hamites. Some of them are Hamites. And some of them are what? Ishmaelites. You know what I'm saying? Some of them are Ishmaelites. So you'll hear us say the Ishmaelites are the Arabs. That's because the Ishmaelites are the original ones, right? They're the ones who, you know what I'm saying, they still call themselves Ishmaelite. The real Arabs will still call themselves Ishmael. But some of them are not Ishmaelites. Some of them are Edomites. Some of them are Hamites. Who the hell knows which ones is which at this point? The point is that they ain't Israelites. You know what I'm saying? Some of them you can tell for various reasons if you follow the history or whatever. You know what I mean? But they're not our people. That's the main point. But yeah, that's why they have that name. And then we talked about the Yah at the end of a word. So the root word I.R.A.B., right? And then when you add a Yah at the end, this is how you get words like Arabia or Arabian. Words like Australian. Anything that ends in that E and that IA, right? We talked about that, right? So Arabia or an Arabian in the Bible, you would be saying what? Arabia, right? Arabia. If you wanted to say Israelite, right? The word for Israel is what? Yasha'Allah. How do you say Israelite? Yasha'Aliyah, right? It's the same thing as saying Israeli. The E, the it, the ia, all of them come from this. All of them come from adding this Yah at the end of a word to designate either a person from a place or the land itself, but usually more so a person from that place, right? So if we also talked about if you want to say someone is Ephraimite, it would be a paria. If someone was a Benjamite, the word for Benjamin is Bunyamin. To say Benjamite is Bunyamyanya. You follow me? Right? See that? Benjamite or Arabia, Israeli. So when people think Israeli, now get it, Israelis call themselves Israelis because that's just the word they choose to use. It's more modern, right? But the origin of all of these designations is this, the Yah at the end of the word, which comes from these possessors, which we talked about, right? One of them being the Yah is like the most common possessive. You could call it a suffix because it goes at the end of the word. You could call it that, right? But the best way to put it is just possessives. They go at the end of a word. And Yah at the end of a word makes it possessive for my or belonging to something, right? So it's no coincidence that I rob becomes I rob Yah. It's no coincidence that Yasha Allah becomes Yasha Aliyah, and so on and so forth. And we're going to get more of these things like this. We're going to get into possessives, and we're going to talk about, of course, prepositions as well, are the things that flesh out the language, right, and drive it to a more, to make it more direct, to make it more concrete in what it's saying. You know, no different than if we're talking in English. Even in certain sentences I'm saying, if we're talking in English, imagine if I took out all the prepositions and possessives in some of these sentences, it would be very funny to hear. Okay, you need those things to make sense of the world. You got to be on things, in things, around things, near things, close to things. You understand? You also have to have his car, my car, his shirt, his boots, their name, their world, so on and so forth. Okay, and these are the words we use for that. Okay, but before we get into that, before we get to that, one more thing. Also, Lashawan, we always like to remember this. We call this the Lashawan Qadash class for this reason. So the word, so Lashawan Qadash, all right, this is how we spell it. First, Akia. Good. These two are absolute toast. If I toast them to you, it's like, yeah, those toast. Yeah, I can rock with this one for now. Come on. Lashawan Qadash. Lashawan Qadash. This is a word. This is what we call this class, right? Why do we call this class? Giannis, you brought this apocrypha? This is dope. Don't say in Christ. We're going to break this down real fast before we get into this quick scripture. All right. So right now, I'm looking in the Blue Letter Bible. Right, I'm going to show y'all this word. I'll share this word in just a moment. Bear with me. So what we do is we get our Blue Letter Bible. Excellent to have. Excellent, you know what I'm saying, piece of equipment. You know what I'm saying, a reference book, as with many other books that we use in the I.S.U.P.K, right? You want to get a Strong's Exhaustive Concordance Bible, or of the Bible, Concordance of the Bible. This is where you can get all your breakdowns of words and such. All right, just a moment. So find the number. I see the number. Let's see if this is the one I'm looking for. So here we go, right? So here in the blue letter, in the slacking blue, not blue letter, in the concordance, right? In the Strong's concordance, we can see it. It says the word we found was H3956, right? Now they have one spell with the Lashawan, but then it says or Lashun. So that means that's the root one. That's the common denominator. See it right here? Show you. Try to get as close as I can. You see that? Right there. Lashun. So La, a Shah, and a Na. And of course, Hebrew goes from it's written from. Of course, Hebrew is written from right to left. So I'm gonna write it down here actually. Just hold on one second. Oh no. Okay. So this is the word we found, right? This is the word we found, Lashun. And now let's look at the meaning of it, right? It says, right, from H3960, the tongue, right? The tongue, used literally as the instrument of licking, eating, or speech, and figuratively, right? Speech, right, and so on and so forth. So if you go to H3960, where it says it comes from, right? That one is also used figuratively and literally. So you're saying it said that one is used literally and figuratively, right? But now we're going to go to the origin one, and that's H3960. Now look at that word. That one doesn't have any other options. It's just La, a Shah, and a Na. Lashun. See the top? See that? Lashun. A primitive root, right? To lick, but used only as a denominative from H3956 to wag the tongue, right? Lashun means tongue. Literally. Lashun means tongue, the actual body part, right? Lashawan comes from this thing we do in Hebrew, where what we do is if we inject a wa, y'all see that? Let me put the camera down so y'all can see it. I don't know why the camera went up. My bad. Okay. If we inject a wa into a root, into a primitive root, like Lashun, we then change it into almost think of it like in English where we have the ing form, right? So in English, you have let's think of a root word, right? Let's say you have, oh, that's not quite it, but okay, that's close. You have in English, you have the word to lie, right? A person lies. But then you have what? Lying. You are lying. You are doing this. This is an action you're performing right now, right? Another, you may say some words or might even be uncommon, or they're not words we usually associate, not a dictionary word, right? But say something like hooping. You know what I'm saying? We some people use that word now to describe a person playing basketball, right? They say somebody, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? He's a hooper, or yeah, he's hooping, right? He's balling. You know what I mean? Many words that may take something of a noun or an adjective with an ing to now change it into a more action word. Okay. Like I said, let's think of some more. Let's think of some more in English. Hooping, balling. I'm trying to think of one that's a noun though. You know what I'm saying? To not confuse you. Because if I give you one that's already a verb, it might confuse you. Right? Let's say get that's what. Just a moment. I know that's hold on. Second. Oh, like smoking, right? From smoke to smoking. You know what I'm saying? Like smoke is a thing. Can you smoke? Yes, but smoke is a thing. It's like, oh, there's smoke. There's some smoke, right? But then you can say, oh, it's smoking. Now it's doing something. Now it's not just being a thing, and now it's turned what it is into an action. You know what I'm saying? Let's see some more. That's the concept you got to kind of understand. Right? Even some things that you might think of are verbs are not in fact verbs, depending on how you use them in a sentence. Say sing, right? If you say I like to sing, sing is a noun in that sentence, right? It's a thing. It's not because the action is you liking it. I like to sing, right? I like to run. Now run is a noun. You turn running, see, ing, into a noun. Okay? Many things like that. Running, singing, jumping, flying. Swimming, and so on. Right? But smoke is a good one because that's an example of a thing that now becomes an action. So Lashon is how we would do that in Hebrew. So Lashon being the root noun, so to speak, right? But you see it described as the wagging of the tongue. So it may not be considered a noun in regular in grammar per se, but the point is that it represents the body part. When you add the wa, now it represents an action you're performing with the body part, like going from smoke, the thing, to smoking, right? Like going from I like to run to I like running.